Welcome to the Innervision Business Beyond Barriers podcast. This podcast shines a light on Black and ethnically minoritised-led businesses across the Liverpool City region.
Exploring ambition, resilience, growth and the realities of building businesses beyond structural and systemic barriers.
Hosted by me, Joanne, founder and director of Innervision.
And the former mayor of Liverpool. Alongside myself, Yaw Owusu, creative consultant and music industry strategist.
Each episode features a single founder from the Innervision Business Growth Programme and a few special guests.
Together, we explore how lived experiences shape leadership, how culturally responsive support can unlock growth, and what it really takes to build a sustainable, thriving business on their own terms.
This is Innervision Business Beyond Barriers podcast.
So, Gosha, can you tell us who you are, what you do, and who you do it for?
My name is Gosia McCain, and I guess that indicates I'm not necessarily from here. I was born in Poland and moved here 26 years ago. I've been working for over those years with Liverpool communities, very much with migrant communities, and over the last 3-4 years with Liverpool European communities. We came together and created Liverpool European Partnership. So I would love to share some stories about this.
Oh, that's really interesting. So what does Liverpool European Partnerships do?
So it's quite a big vision. I would say it's not a business, it's a movement. We want to transform the city. Somehow over the years, people may not have noticed Europeans much here. I think Brexit didn't help, but I was proud that Liverpool stood behind us and voted to stay in EU. But I feel with Europeans, sometimes many of us are white, so we merge with the general population. We want to highlight the European population here. They are European entrepreneurs, professionals, people who came and invested in the city. So we want to show a little bit more of our culture and be more included strategically, because I think sometimes, when you're very much self-sufficient, you're not noticed because you manage yourself. I don't think we cause any problems in a city, but strangely, because of that, sometimes we are not involved strategically. I think that's being changed now. I think we are part of Liverpool Culture Strategy, Liverpool Global Strategy, discussing at other tables how we can be more involved and how that European potential can be used. It's 50,000 of us across the country, 6 million. But somehow, I think till now we didn't develop this mechanism to come together and influence how the European community is perceived, how it influences, and how it builds maybe new structures that are more innovative, more connected with Europe. So that's a really ambitious plan, but yeah, I think we're ready for it.
You know what's amazing is obviously you describe the business as more of a movement than a business, but from I suppose a purely practical way, what would you explain your USP as a business? Like, what is that USP?
As a business, we create that unique platform. So yeah, we are independent, but as well we have a buy-in from institutions. We are funded by Liverpool City Council, work with chambers. And across all the different areas, we bring them together. So in a way, we create a European ecosystem that links with the institutions, with businesses, with culture sector, but is very much grounded within the communities. I think that's so important, that level of authenticity, because I think lots of ideas people had were very much disconnected, and we bring all the different sectors together. So in Liverpool European Partnership, we have 5 pillars. The first one is culture. So we started in a year of Eurovision, 2023. Eurovision was a great chance to show the European connection of Liverpool, but we wanted to highlight the Liverpool European communities. So we started our festival that year. This year we are already preparing for the 4th presence in the city over May and June, so that will be amazing. So the culture was the start, because we wanted to open our doors and share what's important to us, the traditions, the language, what we eat, how we communicate. There's so many fascinating things. And sometimes when you say culture to people, they think of that kind of high culture, Philharmonic Hall and concerts. But I think culture is about how we live, that connection we have, those roots, those heritage. So that's really important part. last year, for the first time, we've done our Liverpool European Christmas Trail. So again, the Christmas events are very personal. You know, Christmas for many people, it's something that we celebrate just with our loved ones. But last year, we opened the doors to Italian and German and Nordic Christmases, so people could come and experience that. So culture is the start, and that's a very important pillar for us. But then I think what's interesting when we came together, now it's 27 organizations as part of the partnership. We realized there's so many other interests than just culture. People mentioned interest with higher education. There's so many lecturers, professors, researchers, students from European background. So in 2024, we did our first European conference at the University of Liverpool. And that was a chance to bring the European researchers, their research, but as well present it to the communities. Because sometimes those academic pieces of work are just shared within the academic sector. And I think that cross-fertilization is so important. So there's that conversation a bit more about the topics discovered, about points of view. So the next part, as I mentioned, is the higher education. After education, people started talking, how about business? You know, there's some European businesses, there are some really big ones. I mean, I love walking along the river and you see the Stena Line with Connecting Europe. I think they should be our main sponsor, and I hope after this podcast they get in touch and we can work it out. So another area that people were really interested is around business. So people, when they come here, they think of starting a business, and there's lots of them already around. Sometimes it's just like a one man, one woman show, and we want to support them to make them more connected, as well understanding what's required, have access to the training opportunities. Because again, those communities sometimes just operate within their communities, so sometimes they don't actually have access to local resources. And I think that's really important to address. But there are as well those European entrepreneurs that are already quite successful, but we want to help them scale up, maybe provide peer support, mentorship. I think that's a great opportunities. But there's another very important resource for me within the business. When we look, like I mentioned, at the big business, I want them to be those that invest in the communities. Without them, without money, things will not survive. And I think if we create a city where for everything you have to pay, I think that spontaneity, I think that will disappear. And I think the thing that I really love about Liverpool is diversity, is having all the different communities, all the different groups, but them being active, not being diverse behind the closed doors. So another area is business. We also want to make sure we look at children and young people. So we work with families to make sure that those languages, heritage languages, are preserved. Many of the organizations that are part of Liverpool European Partnership run supplementary schools. So they are the schools that operate often at the evening or weekends and maintain the language, culture, talk about the history of the country, geography. So I think that's another important thing. And I'm proud that there's so many kids still doing GCSE in the heritage language. I think one of the areas we want to push is the access to A-levels. Because again, some colleges denying that, and I feel like, you know, there's a potential. England is not famous for learning languages. If we bring them here, we use this opportunity.
Understatement there.
Absolutely.
English aren't famous for, but also absolutely terrible at languages. Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm happy for the international travel. So people go to Spain or Italy or Germany and try to learn a little bit. And I think hopefully those European communities provide that access to learning languages as well for adults. So, because I think there is that magic of how you preserve culture, how you perceive culture through a different language. You know, there's a whole
in our schools,
structure.
we've got 30 odd 40 languages in some of our schools. Hopefully, you know, generations growing up now having access to that. I know you've got a fifth pillar.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's around advocacy and campaigning. Again, I think it's important that people here know their rights. But as well, we want to make sure the services understand what rights people have and how to support them. There are some differences. You know, when people come from another country, there's differences in a health service, in other provision. So I think as long as the services here understand that, I think the provision will be much better and without the boundaries, barriers. But as well, important part of it is around voting. Lots of Europeans don't realize they have a right to vote in local elections. And again, I mean, thinking of 50,000 of us, we can really swing the results.
Some communities have a block vote, do you know what I mean? And certainly I know from a councillor and being in the past, some communities will all vote for a candidate because their family members vote for someone else. So that's a very important power. But I think people focus on language barriers, and there's many more barriers, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Culture.
That are not visible. And I think that's what we need to change. So I think we work a lot with local services, but I think, again, through coming together as a partnership, we represent much bigger group.
Yeah.
And hopefully, over time, we'll be more involved strategically. Yeah. Like I mentioned, we are involved in a culture strategy, and that's an important part. But we hope to be involved in other discussions strategically, because I think from there, the councils, the local services develop what they provide. If they don't think of us, they don't include us. And I said, at few of the meetings, why Europeans are not mentioned there. The challenge is in the data, most of us kind of fall within the white other, and nobody explores what white other.
I absolutely understand what you're saying, but I do know that Liverpool City Council's collection of data, for example, has changed more than the national. I can't remember, I think it's 19 categories, because within our other, there is so many categories. And obviously it's not just Liverpool, it's across Liverpool City region. And I love what you do, and I know some of what you do should be paid for by, local government. No, it should, absolutely. But I know that we've talked about getting sort of more commercial awareness for some of the things that you offer, and to just bring it to the Innervision Business Programme, and sort of what you might be learning around business growth, for example. What does growth mean for you from a business perspective? Now, I've grown up in the voluntary sector. My mum ran Assistant Advice Bureau. She set up the first credit union. Wow. But I've always had a business mindset. My first degree was in business. I'd only worked it wasn't even called a social enterprise then. When I was 19, it was community architects, but it was a social enterprise. So I've got that mindset, and much later in my years, I've become much more commercially minded about what I do, because of the danger of working forever for nothing.
Absolutely.
And looking after yourself personally. So what are you learning about commercialisation? What would good growth be to you for the business?
I think it's an interesting question, because I feel the last few months been quite a big transformation. I think being part of this program really helped me understand that. I came in a way from community background, and I've done already lots of different programs, projects, bringing local migrant communities together with the city council, with the service providers, to kind of transform them, to kind of look at what are the issues. Sometimes issues were just communication, but I do very much look from that community perspective. Yes, we come together, we can do it, and we don't think of money. But I think this program let me help. It just stopped me at this moment to say, okay, to move it forward, you can't do it by yourself. You can't do it for nothing. You actually have to develop a system of support, as well financial support. Yeah. So I think that there is this transformation in your mind from which perspective you're talking. And I feel I bring money more into my conversations with potential partner than I did before. Good. I understand as well more of what kind of service and offer we provide. Because like I said, because there's 5 pillars, there's quite a wide area that we try to cover. And within each of them, there will be slightly different way of funding it, of financing it. So the number of partners that we are engaging is quite vast. But I think we provide something unique, because I mentioned this, what we do is authentic. Yeah. What we do is expert-led, so people involved in each pillar are experts within those areas. They have European background, they've done it. And I think what I love is that we're independent, but we have that kind of institutional buying. So we are already funded, we are already engaging with the partners. But I think it's a big development process, definitely. Yeah. So I don't think we are kind of ready to say this is how it will look like regarding the budget. But I think we kind of, I think speaking with you helped me maybe be more bold and ambitious. Yeah, okay. So as much as we were leading the festival over the last 3 years with 20 events. This year we have 40 events. We've done it around 20,000. This year the budget is 100,000. So I think understanding as well that your personal costs you have to include. That you can be a good person and still get paid for it. I think that's a really important learning. So I think I'm kind of getting to that level. And so I think that transformation was really important, looking from a business perspective, because long term, it has to be financed, it has to be supported. But I think for me, the magic of this partnership is long term, I see it as self-sustainable. Because all the different parts of it have needs and resources. Whatever I have, I can offer it to you for free, and you can offer to me what you have, and that will kind of make that movement and sustainability. Because there is expertise, there's as well money. People want to be seen, they want the prestige. So I kind of feel this is a great structure to carry it forward. But definitely learning about talking about money.
Well, and I think the uncomfortable of it, but it doesn't have to be like an either or. It doesn't have to be your profit making and your grant funders. You can have both. And obviously, the backgrounds I work with lots of different businesses, but socialised enterprises as well as traditional businesses. I just wanted to pick up one thing you said about the businesses there as well, about selling to each other. So I've done some research around, what are the growth enablers for businesses from Black and ethnically minoritised communities. And so people are good at selling to their own community. And actually, it made sense when I looked at examples. A person comes from China, they go to the heart of the Chinese community, they sell to other Chinese community, they don't cross over into the mainstream, and therefore they're limited in terms of growth. And then I also recognised I was doing that myself. I don't run business programmes for mainstream. I do it for what I know, which is Black and ethnically minoritised communities. So in order to grow, that's another feature of growth, is coming away from your own community and going to the wider population. Now, the good thing about Liverpool, I think we can all celebrate Europe. I think most of us absolutely love Europe, but not just that. From a footballing perspective, the amount of European people we have in our city, day in, week in, week out. It's something for us all to celebrate. It's not just for Europeans to celebrate Europe. I want to cry about us not being in Europe. So I'm glad that you sort of having this, and I know it's a struggle for you. And I know it's not easy to try and sort of just, it's not about always bringing just a commercial mindset, but balancing your values and, the ability to not just make money, live.
I also think it's interesting that you are very much about the communities and supporting the communities, but you do export the community culture. So it's, with the festival, essentially that's what you're doing. You're saying, look, this is our culture and we're presenting it on behalf of this partnership, we're presenting it. But anybody can engage. Same with the Christmas, the Christmas mini festival. It's like that element of it means that you're helping those businesses or you're helping those individuals actually export it, which has a value to people. But also it helps with all the social cohesion and all that. It's like, look, we are here. This is what we do. And even outside of these touch points, you should now feel comfortable going into X marketplace to go and buy or trade or whatever it is. So I think that's super important, that I think you're taking those steps automatically to be like, this is ours and it's authentically ours and it is a community, but it's a community open for business.
I think they are like concentric circles. So we start with our 27 now organizations are part of the partnership. I'm so proud of it.
That's great.
I
can't even get 27 people to get along with each other, never mind communities.
I know,
But this is something that's special, absolutely, because I think each of us has a different national background. Came from Europe here and made this a home. So there's a story that connects us, but at the same time, we're not in competition with each other. And I think that's a beauty. So there's 27 organizations, 50,000 people across a local area, 6 million in UK and then Europe. So I think our growth potential is kind of unlimited.
And I think as well, the not in competition thing, it can be other communities that have been here perhaps longer. end up in competition around funding in particular, and it's really damaged some communities to, why did they get and we never, and that kind of thing. And so making your organisational sustainable, or having sustainability to you, means those communities don't have to compete against each other, because sometimes the institutions and the policymakers, whether it's unbeknownst to them or they don't care about the impact they're having, they'll say, well, one year we can do Chinese people, next year we can do Polish people, and you don't want that.
No,
so
absolutely.
I think presenting to institutions as a partnership, is really not just admirable that you can work together in that way, but also like undeniable as a community of interest that needs to be taken seriously.
Absolutely, and I think that's the core as well of what's important, having that experience. So for 17 years now, I've been running Merseyside Polonia, working with the Polish community, so I understand all the other community groups. Yeah. To be honest, what they want to do is to do something good for the communities. They don't want to do evaluation. They don't want to apply for funding. They don't. It's all the bureaucracy that we have to do for little amount of money. Often we get. So what we try to do with the partnership is provide that support. So I'm applying for funding. Yeah. When we get the money, we distribute evenly across all the organizations. They want to be part of it. They want to do it. They will do it.
And that's what's good about thinking bigger, because actually I'm fundraising at the moment in one of the jobs that I have. Asking for 50 million is as easy as asking for... It really is. No, it really is. It's ridiculous how I've started talking about money. Like I've said things recently, like it's only $1 million. Like only $1 million is mind-blowing. But actually, when we've done the reverse pitch fence last year, and we're doing one as part of this programme as well, Izzy from Foundervine said that. She went, you're asking for 10 grand. It's the same as asking for $1 million. You still got to jump through them hoops. Yes. So actually doing it on behalf of the partnership and being able to distribute is just as much work and effort, really.
But it also makes more sense because the outcomes you can confirm that will come out of it are vast. So instead of worrying about your own organisation, you can actually, it's going to hit this many people, and this is the impact of it broader than this event or programme that we're going for. I think that makes it really interesting.
That's what you just said. The last sentence, I think, was so meaningful for me, because I think we realise how much bigger impact we can have when we come together. And I think there's so many things that really happen and change for the organizations. I was surprised, for instance, that working with the German church that's been here since 18-something. The Lord Mayor never came to visit them. So we opened the doors as well for the dignitaries, for the VIPs to come and link with the organizations, with the communities, visit them. And it is symbolic, but I think it's important because people want to be visible. Yeah. They feel part of the city. They live here. They want to be visible.
Been here forever as well. And we've had chats, haven't we, about how historically diverse Liverpool is, not just, from Black communities, but from European communities. And, those people have been there quietly. Is the Greek church? There's a church on as you go to John Lewis. I can't remember the name of the street. I think it's a Swedish church, and you just think that Swedish church is just sitting there. We don't know anything about it. But I just wanted to pull you back into growth. Is growth then for you? And it doesn't have to be, growth can be a number of things, but is growth the growth of your impact? Is that what you want as growth? Is it less about financing and growing and sustainability, or is it a combination of those things?
I think there's quite a lot in growth, because I think the growth is the impact, the growth is finance, but as well growth in structures. Yeah. Okay. I feel that's what's important for us. Like I mentioned at the beginning, is to be independent, but as well we want to be connected with the business structures, with the local authority structures, with diplomatic structures. So like I said, we go much wider. And that's important. We are more flexible. We can bring that change and those opportunities much quicker than, for instance, the city council. Yeah. And I think that's really important. That's why we want to kind of work with them. We had already the discussions about bringing back Erasmus program. Yeah. I mean, again, having European students, it had such a positive impact on a city. We want to be part of it. But again, as an organization, we can adopt much quicker, develop relationship with universities in Europe and bring those students here. Again, that's such an amazing potential because I think that cross-fertilization across countries, cultures is so important. I think closing your country and saying, we want to be independent, it's not a good way forward.
Believe me, every meeting I started, I'd apologise for not every European meeting. I apologise. We never wanted to be out of Europe.
I've got with the growth thing. I think in a year's time, I just think of all those areas, what would be the one growth area, the measurable growth area that you'd be like, that means the most?
Because you'd hard to pin down, Gosha. We've got to
I'm just intrigued. Is it sustainability? Is it being in some of those rooms? Is it, the festival getting double the amount of people? Like, what would be the growth area that you'd be like, yeah, we nailed that. That's success.
I think if I would say the success story next year, if I come to the podcast and say, would be we have people employed at the partnership.
Okay.
Because
so
I
not
really
doing
think
all the work.
I just think it's not me doing all the work. Like I said, I have people who are really experts within working with children or business, and I'm really glad of that. But I'm kind of carrying a lot of initial conversations.
And you're limited by your ability and capacity and the hours you can do.
Absolutely.
This segues wonderfully into my next question. What have been the biggest barriers for you in terms of running this business?
I think I would say sometimes I think there's kind of two sides. I feel a bit like I'm a broker between different sectors. Working with the communities, I think I have a trust and commitment. I think sometimes working with that leadership part of Liverpool or Liverpool City region is difficult because people are just so focused on their work, and the work is just so divided and devising in many ways. And I feel sometimes I would like people to just go on a retreat for me, to spend a week to explain to them the vision, because it's something unique, and it could be something that benefits the city so much, but we have to go above our kind of local commitment. The story is much bigger than just Liverpool and can bring so much more investment. So I think for me, that's the barrier. Meeting with people when they are just so much into their job and the very narrow area and don't see the potential. I think, again, over the years, I had chance to work at the city council, and it's very much working in silos. But it's not just this. I think the business sector works separately. The higher education works separately. And I really think bringing it all together, that's what makes the magic. And that's, for me, the unique selling point about the partnership and the whole concept. So, I think coming across people who may be a bit close-minded. But, I mean, I had the chance to speak with Liam Robinson this week. I have a meeting today with Carl Cashman. So I feel like maybe there is a transformation in their thinking and realizing, maybe we just need to look wider. It can't be just Liverpool for the Liverpool's sake. I think the story of Liverpool is much bigger. Let's kind of go back to that ambition, because this was an amazing city. Because of the political powers from the central government, it was destroyed. And sometimes your confidence was knocked down. I kind of think it's time to rise up.
What exactly are you talking about? Thatcherism? Or? Yeah. I think there is those tables, there is those meetings. I just don't think the right people are always invited. So I think there is meetings at a city level where there is discussions about what can happen. And then what gets filtered down into managerial roles in the organisations, those people just have to manage the remit that they've been given. So I think you're approaching leaders and getting them on board. So I think that's what will bring you success with that. That's the way to go about it. But just be careful getting in that mix of, leaders who are from opposition parties and,
No, I mean, they are from opposite parties, but they're all committed to Liverpool. I think that's what I want to bring, what we have in common. Yeah. And I think one of the things maybe I wanted to add, because I think for the last 3 years, we very much focus on Liverpool. And sometimes you feel like you're going from the post to pillar. And at the end, you spend more time walking than developing really what you try to do. But I think something magical happened for us last year. And I feel like it's determining the future growth and impact. So at the end of the last year, in November, Liverpool European Partnership was awarded Empower EU grant from European EU Ambassador. And that was a lovely moment. Yeah. But really what came after, it's amazing. I'm working over the last few months with the EU delegation, and I'm inviting to different tables, introduced to different things. I mean, through them and their conversations, We have now interest regarding our partnership and our model from Deputy Mayor of London. So that's what I mean. I don't want people to kind of just be here for themselves. I want them to see the bigger picture. Next week, I'm inviting again by the EU ambassador to speak at the culture panel around culture diplomacy. I'll be at the panel as well with the director of all the European culture networks, with the Minister of Culture. I mean, come on, that's exactly where we should be. Yeah. And I want Liverpool to promote us. I want Liverpool to invite people here and introduce us. I want them to recommend us. And I just think that's the vision.
Europe wants to work with us. They're devastated by the break that's happened. And, we've got close connections with so many European cities. Nantes, where we got the Giants from, for example. We've got a list of sister
Twinning,
cities, well, not just twin sisters as well. There's a massive list sitting in Liverpool City Council of all the people in Europe. I think we donated money to a little French town after the war that we're twins with. That they forever remember the impact that the people of Liverpool had on their so it's the door's open, isn't it, across Europe? It's not like you're pushing against a closed door. And what I kind of meant politically is you just don't want to get used politically against opposition and stuff like that.
No,
you need
absolutely.
people to rise above that because there's a bigger prize at stake, and it is about promoting Liverpool and what it's got to offer. But we know, and we've talked about it, it's hard to work in Liverpool sometimes.
I think
it can be really cliquey. It can be hard to get in, and you can speak to somebody and they're not the right person. And I love how you analyse it. You could spend more time walking between pillar and post because that's how it feels sometimes. And just because and I certainly notice this from my experience, just because something is a goer doesn't, or a no-brainer, doesn't mean Liverpool will accept it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's like it really. But I think what you do is brilliant, and I think it is a bit of a no-brainer. So look, the Innervision programme, can you talk about some of the things you've got out of it, and also perhaps more you'd like to get out of it? It's a very short-term programme, it's 6 months, and it's early days, but what have you got out of it so far?
I think I have to say that I think for me the really big important part of it is you two.
It's nice to be loved, isn't it? It's nice to be liked.
No, I was thinking about this. Again, you are from the city. You've done things here. And I feel I can honestly talk to you because we have similar points of reference and we know who is the good, the bad and the ugly of Liverpool. So sometimes navigating those areas is really important. I really feel your appreciation and recognition of what I'm trying to bring and understanding as well in the context of Liverpool. Yeah. I'm annoyed when Liverpool City Council pays so many consultants from outside the city who come and tell us how to do things. They don't have a clue. Mm-hmm. They may have a product for their place, but Liverpool is really specific. I
just need to get in. Loads of councils pay consultants, but I think we've had a long history actually of not accepting people from outside, and I think the black community are even worse for it. There was an incident in the 70s with a guy called Sam Bond. I think it was the 80s. Was sort of put on Liverpool because he had a political affiliation to whoever was in power at the time, and the black community just kicked them out of touch. But I've got to say, me and Yaw spoke specifically about you previous to this. We've been where you've been, and that's what we absolutely understand you. We understand some of the challenges you face, the community you're trying to lift up and work with, but also the barriers that you get sometimes. So I think I absolutely get your point on that because we do know what it's like for you.
And I think, you see, for me, what sometimes the leadership of the city doesn't understand, the committees are experts in their communities.
Yeah, absolutely.
I still feel, unfortunately, lots of the higher management is very monolithic. There's not much diversity. The sad thing is, even people from diverse backgrounds, when they get to those high points, they are worried. They are worried about losing those positions. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what I kind of feel needs to change. And I think we need to recognize, if communities face barriers, often they develop their paths of accessing things. I mean, please listen to them. Yeah. They have that. So I kind of feel definitely that strong strong feeling of being rooted in a city, that you to have delivered things, kind of facing the barriers. Because it's not like, you prepare the pitch, you go, you do, and they accept it. There's just so
much
many
harder work than that.
So I think there's still kind of so many things we just have to change. But as well, coming together, bringing people together, I think that was what was interesting for me, kind of seeing other people's perspective.
Yeah.
Even that little exercise when you were telling somebody about your business and then they have to tell it back to you.
Yeah.
I just kind of understanding how different people perceive it. And actually, sometimes seeing the unique point from their point of view.
Yeah.
That was really special. So I kind of feel it's that kind of group feeling and the support as well you get from each other and encouragement and seeing people grow. Because again, at each meeting, you kind of see how much people change the way they think, the presentation skills. So I feel that's encouraging. But at the same time, this kind of connection as well, we are all a bit struggling to kind of get it off the ground.
When I want to ask you, like, what else can you get out of the programme? I'm laughing to myself, like, you want structural change. I can't deliver that. I can't deliver it in 6 months anyway. In terms of some of the practical and I everything you've just said, what you get out of it, I get out of it too. I love seeing someone have a light bulb moment or something that's been a barrier for ages has been removed, and understand that people are just slogging away and, day on day and being quite isolated doing all this. But I've got to say, like, some of your ambitions of what you want around structural change, is there anything more practical I can help with instead? Is this stuff around financial literacy, market and, commercialisation, social impact? Is there sort of practical things that we can help with?
But you see, I think as well, I again appreciate really the time I had with Yaw over the coaching sessions, because again, sometimes looking individually at what you struggle with.
Yeah.
I think in some ways, again, coming from Poland, we are quite modest, so we undersell ourselves. But actually, we always over-deliver. And I think that the last few conversations we had when Yaw said to me, you should write a book.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of operating from that perspective. My concept is so big, it actually deserves a book.
Absolutely.
Because people have to understand how powerful a tool it is for a change for the city. So, and I kind of feel that's what it gave me, that change in my perception of myself. I'm not just a little kind of
cog on a wheel. I was coming up with something because I was scared of what you might come up with.
I want to hear what was going to get said.
I seen the light flipping in her eye. I'm like, cog on a wheel.
Yes,
you're in the Innervision living room right now, so please say what you want to say. No, so
but actually, I'm more the one who turns the key for this machine to run. And actually helping people connect with it, because it's not just one thing, it's just interconnected systems. Because I really think the future is so much different than how things worked in the past. And I think we need to step up. And if there is a solution that's already offering that with the great potential that there is, let's embrace it.
So I don't like to compliment him too much. I've waited a long time.
Can we have a close-up? Can we have a close-up of Joanne's face? Because I might need to clip this and use it for my social media. Okay, cool.
Yaw is very good at lifting and raising aspirations, and I really like that about you. The feedback. See why I don't like giving him compliments, but the feedback I've had, he is really good at that, and seeing you for what you're capable of, and I love that that's happened. You've only had 2 coaching sessions or something, haven't you? It hasn't been like a year's worth of coaching, but being able to see and I hope you feel seen, because we do very much see what you're trying to do and what you are doing. And so what's interesting for me, what I feel focused on with you is I don't want you to burn out, because I think you've got a big agenda and you've got a lot on. You're very ambitious, and that's right, being ambitious for you and your community, but also you carry that, and I don't want to see that. So I love that your growth aspect of success was that you will get more staff, because letting go of this baby that you've created as well, I know, is also another difficulty. You've had the vision around this, you've grown, you're getting people on board, you think, and the only way you can grow this actually is if you let go of things and have other people work and deliver them for you.
I just want to touch on the coaching aspect, because I think it's an amazing part of this program that it's done. And I think the visibility, it's like, I believe, us as coaches can see the heart of the people we're working with, but we also can see some of the stuff over the hill. And the burnout factor, which is a common theme we found in terms of it's like, we're all so driven, but burnout's a real thing. So, when we talk about satisfaction, you're getting a satisfaction from, like, I've seen myself and I realise I'm the one who turns the key. I'm not just a cog in the wheel. When we see you see that, we also get really fulfilled. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's something about that, and how you've designed it is to have people who have got similar lived experience or similar insight or experiences to be able to kind of go, well, we'll be here alongside you. We ain't going to do the work. That's one of your main rules. We're not going to do the work, but we will prod and poke, and we'll also uplift you at times. And I think that's a really interesting part of this program.
It's designed into the program. That lived experience, I think, is really important. And when I try to explain to other people of why it's not just, the same run of the mill, is that, you can listen to someone who you can't identify with, and they can try and raise your aspirations. But if you think, well, that's all right for them because they're not me and they haven't got my barriers, it's much more difficult. And I think, that lived experience of doing the similar things to you, I think does really help, because, we have overcome them in parts, but we're still facing them.
Absolutely. And I think, I realized that it doesn't have to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think I realized that there is a bit of a learning process. And I think sometimes the experiences from history made me realize that, I don't know if you realize, of the impact of the Polish pilots here during the World War II. I'm not sure if it worked the same with the same outcome if the Polish pilots wouldn't join RAF. But to be honest, I was shocked that they were officially recognized at the Remembrance Sunday for the first time, I think in 2020.
Wow.
How many years after the war? So I kind of feel like sometimes things change slowly, and we have to give time to people to transform. I felt like very much when I came here first time, I came in 2000, it was very much about British identity. We are British. But I feel with time, people are more interested in personal stories, in where we come from, where my ancestors are from, because that's more interesting. We are more interesting people because we have so many different connections and relations. The same the way we look at the history. In the past, it was the battles and generals. Now we are interested in those personal stories. And it's the same with the communities. We don't want just to kind of, have the big national story. We want to understand the complexity and the beauty of it, because they're all like gems.
I've got to admit, during Eurovision, somebody from Ukraine talked about how the art and culture was being destroyed during war, and the fact that we were having a joint programme with Ukrainians and local Liverpool city region artists, that we were preserving their culture. And it just dawned on me, I thought, I haven't experienced that around, museums being blown up, or, our culture trying to be destroyed in front of my eyes. I haven't experienced that in my lifetime. And obviously from a war perspective, I thought how cruel, to just not just to destroy someone, but to eliminate them. And what a wonderful thing to try and preserve that culture and celebrate it. And, that was a real moment for me of understanding how important culture is, not just art, history, but the people and what it means to them. That was just a moment for me in Eurovision.
But there's another part that just made me think of when you mentioned about Ukraine, the culture. One of the really interesting and important partnership we started at the end of last year, beginning of this year, is with Open Eye Gallery.
Oh, yeah.
So I met with Sarah Fisher and we started talking about the kind of partnership to bring up the European stories. She said recently she'd been to Eastern Europe and she realized how little she knows of the history. And I think that another topic that she brought up that really made me think even deeper was looking at the decolonizing Eastern Europe. Our stories over the communist period were told through the story of Soviet Union. It wasn't our story. It was a story of imperial power. And we want to retell the stories again. People need to kind of be aware of it. And that's, I think, another aspect, because it just made me look back and look inside more to realize that maybe me being not sure about what I bring in here comes from that years of oppression, when you're always pushed and put down. So many people from Eastern Europe, when they came here, they were treated as migrant workers, but kind of on the bottom of the ladder.
Absolutely,
And somehow put just in that little box. It's not just the work we bring everything with us, and that's not being treasured and seen as important. I really think migrants should be seen as investors, because they invest their own life.
They are, and they, in terms of, I'm just delighted with the mayor, the President of Spain at the moment has just done an amnesty of 50,000 undocumented. If you've got any sense, you'd have your migrants contributing to your country because that's all they want to do.
Instead of treating them like criminals,
contribute to the tax. You mentioned before that sometimes you're unseen, but I actually remember when Brexit first happened, and I was working in the Crown Prosecution Service on hate crime, and a lot of Europeans, particularly Eastern Europeans, were the victims of hate crime. It wasn't just an easy ride or an accepted addition to communities. They went through a really hard time. I think it's a bit different now, hopefully. But, that transition period, you look back, it's only 20 years or something. It wasn't smooth in that sense.
No, it was difficult. And I think, again, being involved in the hate crime strategy, I always say to people, when you say to the community, please report it, if people came and were treated like that, they think that's the way you are being treated. So I would like Liverpool to create the standards of living here, to actually tell us what we should expect from the city. And I think being called names, not acceptable. Your car being smashed, not acceptable. I mean, so I kind of feel like there's still lack of understanding that, you created this system here, a strategy of a hate crime, but you don't really talk with the communities. And I think that's where sometimes it's the issue.
I'm going to take it, back to, the core business. And obviously this program. So if you've got, potential funders, institutions, decision makers looking at, businesses like yourselves and business leaders like yourself, and also programs like this, what would your advice be to them when they're thinking about what do we support, what do we invest in, how do we invest, using your experience and the work you do, but also a program like the Innervision Business Growth Programme, like what advice would you give to them?
To the young businesses?
No, to the organisations, the policymakers, the decision makers, the funders.
That I think the policy, the strategy always have to be rooted in reality. Sometimes it just feels so disconnected, and somehow as committees we are shoveled into the policy. I just think it's a wrong way. I think things can't be developed separately. They have to be developed with the communities. Like I mentioned, I think often within the communities, there are already solutions that we developed because things didn't work. So just adopt them. That may be the easiest option. But I think, again, more diversity regarding the leadership, higher leadership roles, and not at the end point, because I feel people come to us when there's a crisis situation. So they develop program, delivered, go to the crisis point, come to us when there's no money and problems. I want to be involved at Liverpool Strategic Partnership because I want to influence their thinking. I think they just need to see the city with all its diversity, and sometimes that's not being seen. I think the challenge for me is that services are very much developed across geography. Communities, minority communities don't refer to geography. They relate to organizations that can speak to them. The same with disability. If somebody can't speak or see, they will not come to the office where they can't be understood. They will go to the organization that can speak the language.
So it's about engaging those organizations early and at a higher level. Yeah,
and seeing them as experts.
Well, co-design, and I think there's a lot of confusion around, I've worked in community engagements in the past and had a job role with that. People consult, they call it consultation, they're just raising awareness of what they want to say. And then when it comes to engagement or consultation, they've already decided and they want some feedback. Co-designing, starting with a blank piece of paper and working together with the community, it's just off people's radar. They just don't quite understand it quite so much.
But there's another point. Communities are dynamic. They are not like a piece of rock that they will stay where you put it. they change.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel sometimes that system of developing things is just too slow.
Yeah.
I mean, we did some consultation with one of the services at Liverpool City Council 2 years ago. Based on that, they asked us to deliver something. It's out of place right now. 2 years later, it just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
So I think there has to be that continuous conversation. Yeah. It's not you consult us, we have a document and we operate. It doesn't work. Yeah. The world is changing so much faster. Yeah. Unfortunately, there are conflicts in the world which affect who comes here. Yeah. I think that's fantastic that Liverpool, Britain is still a safe home for so many people. But then you have to understand them, you have to have a conversation with them, and you have to see how the city is changing. That's why you have to have that ongoing
relationship
yes, with community, with city leaders, because things are changing. They are not ever set in stone. And then it's just sad when, after 3 years, there's a new service that's irrelevant because things change. Yeah. I really think there has to be really drastic change in how we look at things. World is changing much faster, and will be. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it should be June already with the amount of work I've done.
Yeah.
It runs from the very beginning.
I've worked in equality for years, and then world politics. A couple of years ago, I was in shock that it felt like growing up, things would only get better. I think how's it got worse? I think.
Yeah, I was going to ask, simply to wrap her up, like, what's next for you in your business? Like, what's on the horizon?
So ahead of us, it's our beloved Liverpool European Festival. Like I said, I think it's bigger, better than it ever been. We have an amazing buying from the EU delegation, from embassies, consulates, but as well European culture institutes. We will have European artists coming here for the first time. We work with 3 national portfolio organizations. We have record number of communities now, 27 organizations involved. So I would like to invite everybody for our opening. So this year we have opening weekend. We will have an amazing launch event at the Bomdow Church on 9th of May. A full day of dancers, singers, but as well stalls, language lessons, whatever else you want. But there's a chance to come and meet all the different European communities that are here. Then on the 10th of May, we have an amazing parade planned from Liverpool One. Again, Liverpool One being a great partner for us, with costumes, dancers walking through the city centre. This year we are linking as well with Philharmonic Hall, so we'll have a Mahler concert at the Philharmonic Hall. But because 2026, the first half a year, Cyprus has EU presidency, we are inviting to the city Cyprus High Commissioner. So again, a big VIP event for the leaders, for the diplomatic sector, for the communities that we want to celebrate. So this is a big thing ahead, and loads of meetings now going on, trying to put it together. But then actually engaging with those people who want to invest. And I'm not looking for sponsorship, I'm looking for community investment. Because for us, it's not an event to put one as a one-off. It's a long story of developing coherent, strong, impactful communities around the European agenda.
And where can everyone find out more?
So check on our website, www.liverpooleuropeanpartnership.co.uk. We are on LinkedIn, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram. We are still debating TikTok.
I promised my child I would never do a TikTok. And he's holding me to it.
I think this year, again, the last few months, we managed to engage with European young people, students, with Liverpool European Affairs Society, European Youth Movement. So I kind of feel, definitely we need to expand more. And they said, TikTok is the way to go. So
it is. It's what all the kids are on.
We want to embrace as well the change. And I think what's important for us is to access all the different layers, rooms, parts of society with our story, with our connection, and kind of bring it all together. So, TikTok, something ahead.
Look forward to seeing you on TikTok.
That will be the day. But definitely, I think the dancers, we had a meeting yesterday with the City Council, with the media department, talking about, it's a good way to promote the cultures.
The reach is unbelievable, isn't it? When you think about how you used to try and reach people in the past. So you can't afford not to do it. You've got to do it. Thank you, Gosha. That was brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. Fantastic.
Thank you for tuning in to the Innervision Business Beyond Barriers podcast.
If you enjoyed this episode, you can check out more on the Innervision YouTube channel.
The business programme itself was commissioned by the Liverpool City Region Combined Authority Race Equality Hub, and this podcast is produced by Nothin but the Music.